Come here, son, nephew, young man. Let me holler at you. All right, so this is part 3 of my take on being a stepfather. I grew up in a 2-parent household, so I'm a marriage-minded individual. I know, that's not popular these days. Let me say this, I'm a family-minded individual. The marriage course will eat a man alive these days. And black men really need to re-look at how we view marriage. There is a such thing as a private marriage contract, being that you as a man have more to lose than the other party. In a state-sanctioned marriage, I recommend that brothers don't do it. Get a private marriage contract and just do it on your own terms. When Adam and Eve were married, there wasn't no state organization, wasn't no certificate. It was God's rules on marriage, but that's your personal, you got to do that how you see fit. Anyhow, I'm a family-minded individual. So, I've often, and probably in many cases I shouldn't have, not probably, there were many cases where I shouldn't have, but I've always tried to keep a cohesive family unit. So I've attempted to date seriously where I can, but the reality of the situation is you just can't take every woman out there seriously. But okay. So I'm going to talk about the situations where I actually did try to take women seriously who had children. Most of these are going to be examples of what I see as the possible cons or negatives of being a stepfather, which is why I didn't commit in those situations. One is going to exemplify the possible pros. This situation could have almost worked, but then again, 2 of the cons overpowered that possible pro. All right, so the first time I attempted to do something like this, I was like 17 and in high school. This chick I used to talk to when I was in middle school, she was older than me actually. She was in high school. Back then, you used to have to try real hard and be real mature and have something going if a female was going to talk to you, and she was older than you back then. And granted, look, I was just an average dude, a bit of a nerd, still am. And, I liked the female, she liked me, so we talked for a little while, but her attitude was a little bit too bad, because remember, I came up in a household where there's a mother and a father, and things went a certain way, and just being disrespectful and nasty attitudes and stuff like that, I can't deal with it. Sorry, my doggone head's sweating because I got the defroster on, and it's right at that temperature where it's not hot, but not cold in Louisiana too. So, you might see me with a hat on 1 minute, then if I feel a breeze or the air conditioner makes me feel a certain way, I might put a hat on or take it off or whatever. Anyway, this one didn't last too long. We stopped talking in middle school. I met her again in high school. She had a baby for some dude. I didn't really know much about that situation. And the kid was just, she wasn't what my mom was used to. I let her stop by the house one day. We were on the way to like the movies or something like that, and we were going to drop the kid off, and the kid was just tearing up everything, and my mom told me, very politely, mama's a Claire Huxtable type lady, real beautiful, real quiet, real dainty. Even when she mad, she smiled. But she was like, son, look, this was the only time this ever happened to me. The only time mom ever told me to not deal with a female. She said, son, look, don't ever bring that child back to this house. So I found my way out of that situation. I still tried to make it work, but it just stuck with me. Mom said that for a reason, so I let that situation go. Now, later on in life, and I'm running out of, I may have to edit this one. Later on in life, I think the first time I really gave a woman serious consideration, this is after my second divorce, in my late 30s. I think I was 36 or 37, something like that. I tried to give a lady a chance. Now, she was older than me, and her children were grown. And when I met this lady, she was in a situation where her finances weren't the best. Life wasn't the best, but she's a beautiful lady, and she seemed like a nice lady with a pure heart. And I met one of her grown children, so it seemed like everything was okay. Now, she did have 7 children, never married before. You got to take those things into consideration, gentlemen. I'm not saying judge anybody, but I am saying track records are something that you need to take into consideration. Marriage and relationships is business, whether you want to admit it or not. And I helped this lady make a couple of maneuvers and budget and structure to where she should have been saving about $3,000 or $4,000 every month. Between a lawsuit over a situation that she needed to handle a certain way, and some career choices, she was making pretty good money and basically had no expenses. So by the end of year 1, she should have had close to $25,000 saved up. I gave her a 4-year plan. By the end of year 2, she's supposed to have 50 grand saved up. Well, come to find out, she done blew all her money. And most of the money she blew was on one of her children, who kept on making certain types of mistakes. And what I kept finding was this: the situation that this woman created for herself and the way that the children had been governed or governed themselves or whatever, it was a constant bleed on her pockets. And quite frankly, she was always stressing about them. And I stopped dealing with her for a little while, and she went and tried to get into a situation, a business that I kind of told her not to do. And she ended up doing that anyway. So my problem with her situation was this: I liked her, but that situation with those children that her and this guy or whoever created, I just couldn't deal with it. I just didn't want that in my house. I didn't want anyone with the expectation that, hey, yeah, I'm bleeding my mama pockets dry, so I'm gonna bleed yours too, partner. No, because when you're dealing with somebody, if you're gonna take them seriously, you're gonna deal with their family seriously too. And I didn't want to deal with that type of setup. So that's one thing you got to think about. What are these children like? What is attached to this woman and these children if you're going to take on that situation? Because understand, in some situations, the children ain't, they're there. That's the woman's kids. She ain't going to just disown them in most cases. So be careful what type of children you attach to your life. That is a possible con. And always never lose the will to win and never lose the will to survive. I'll be back with another scenario this afternoon.